Hello, it's me, Ash. It's the holiday season, so I'm busy in the kitchen today making the perfect chocolate cake with a hint of orange and a bourbon glaze. I'm giving it an extra festive touch with rosemary as my evergreen trees. Here are the ingredients you will need for the cake and the icing. They are also listed in the description of this video and on my website, aloeplum.com. The chocolate cake we're going to make today is super easy, and we make it all in one bowl, which is great because I hate doing dishes. The secret to a really professional result is to sift your dry ingredients. And the other secret to a professional result is to taste all your ingredients. To start with, I'm going to sift in 2 cups of white granulated sugar. Next, I have 1 1/4 cups of flour. Here's my level first cup of flour. And I need 1 more 1/4 cup of flour. Level that off. And I need 3/4 of a cup of cocoa. I wanted my flour and my sugar to be exact, but my cocoa can be heaped in cups. I have 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder, and I have 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking soda. I'm also adding a teaspoon of salt to my cake. Salt is actually really important when you're baking a cake. Not only does it bring the flavor out, but it also is really important in the chemical reactions. It can bind to the gluten in the flour, and so too much will be too chewy, which is great for bread, not for cake. And the salt can actually affect the rising time in your cake. I want to make sure that my dry ingredients are mixed really thoroughly, and I don't have any pockets of baking powder in there that will affect how it looks in the end. I'm a little messy when I cook sometimes. All right, that's all mixed. And now I can add my wet ingredients. This recipe calls for 2 eggs. I know a lot of people will break their eggs into a separate bowl just to make sure they don't get any shells or bad eggs into their batter, but I'm a little reckless, so I break them right into the bowl. What I'm not reckless with is the temperature of my eggs. It's really important to bake with room temperature eggs. At room temperature, eggs mix and incorporate much better, and since eggs trap air in your batter, a cake made with room temperature eggs will make a much lighter and more even rise. Now I'm adding a cup of milk, which is also at room temperature to ensure uniform baking and a perfect professional cake. And finally, I have 1/2 cup of oil. In general, I have always preferred butter to oil in anything I cook or bake. However, because oil is naturally a liquid at room temperature, it will also help ensure that my cake is still moist when I serve it tomorrow. Now, if I was serving this cake immediately, I'd still probably make it with butter. Vanilla is not something I think needs to be measured out precisely. It's not going to affect the baking time, and I have a pretty good sense for how much I want to put in. More is usually better. The secrets to this cake being super moist is a cup of boiling water at the end. A great way to enhance the flavor profile of your cake is to add tea to your hot water or your hot milk. Today I have this wild orange blossom tea that I'm just going to put in our boiling water here. And as that seeps, I'm going to finish up the cake batter. That wild orange tea is really going to bring the orange out in our cake. The other way we're adding orange is by zesting some orange into our cake batter. Orange can be a little bit of a strong flavor, so I don't want to do too much, but I definitely want that orange to come through. And I'm going to save this for my cocktails. Now I'm ready to add in my delicious wild orange blossom tea. Look at the great color. I am going to use a strainer as I pour it in just in case any of the tea particles got in my hot water. This boiling hot water really does make a difference in the moistness of the cake. A little bit more mixing, and we'll be ready to go. I'm using this great Nordic ware bump pan for my cake. It makes making a cake so easy. No layers, no extra frosting. I'm not going to have to do very much to level it, and it has this great design already. See see how liquidy this is. I would never recommend this recipe for a springform pan. I've tried it before, and let me tell you, the oven is a mess. This will seep right through the edges. I'm going to set my timer for 55 minutes to check it. I love to do things that look so intricate and so beautiful that most people shy away from them. It gives me a lot of satisfaction that I took it on and I accomplished it. You can do it too. Stick with me. But when your husband calls you at noon and tells you you're going to a client's house for dinner and you need to bring the dessert, you don't have time for intricacy. You have to get something done fast. This is going to be one of your go-to cakes once you see how easy it is to make beautiful. And while it's baking for 55 minutes, the icing for this cake is super easy and you never have to tell your secrets. I've already measured out 5 cups of powdered sugar. Now normally for the liquid I'd add a 1/4 cup of milk to this recipe, but to make this festive and fun, we're going to add bourbon. I decided to go with some Templeton rye I already had decanting. The other secret to this icing and how professional it looks is its shine, and the secret to that is light corn syrup. Corn syrup gets a really bad rap, but you never have to tell how you got this shine. I'm going to mix this up, and then it's going to be time to get our cake out of the oven. It's time to get the cake out of the oven. I'm so excited. I'm going to add one last ingredient. I love this bourbon icing, but it is going to be perfect with just a dash of cinnamon. My cake is cool and my frosting is ready, so let's make this winter wonderland happen. My rosemary topiaries are in need of a trim right now anyway, so it's the perfect opportunity to make rosemary evergreen trees for this cake. We're going to take our rosemary and we're going to actually turn it upside down. So where we cut becomes our treetops. I'm going to need to remove a few of the rosemary leaves from the base. Set them aside for dinner. Need to get a little trunk here. To the side a little there. Here is our beautiful chocolate orange cake with cinnamon bourbon glaze and rosemary evergreens. It's going to be the hit at any winter party you go to. For more great cake tutorials and everything you can DIY better, make sure you follow me on my channel at Aloe Plum.